all the meetups. So please take out some time to give us the feedback. It's really important, and we read all the feedback. Trust us. So for today's meetup, like I am giving with Trusla and Subham. So my name is Amit. I have already introduced myself, so I will give it to Trusla. Yeah.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Trishla Kothari. I am working with Epicero since 2.5 years. I have 2.5 years of Mule experience. I am working as senior software engineer in Epicero, and I'm a certified Mule developer.
Thank you, Trusla. I will next go to Subham.
Hi everyone. My name is Shubham Singh Pamar. I am from New Delhi. So I am working as a software engineer at Epicero. So I have currently total 2 years of experience, and I am a certified MuleSoft developer and certified MuleSoft integration associate. Thanks.
Thank you, Subham. So we are at 46 participant, and we are already 10 minutes into the time. So we'll start the topic, everyone. Yeah. So yeah, agenda for today. So we will look into Salesforce, Slack, and Gendex integration. So we'll introduce what Salesforce, Slack, or Gendex is. We will touch base in deep. What are the configuration needed to have this integration in Salesforce side? How to do configuration in the Slack and Gendex, because we'll need to create some custom field. We need to create some custom app, some settings which are not available on net or in documentation in general very easily. So we'll do so all the configuration, and then we'll have a live demo for this. We have three use cases which we have done, and we will give the demo and the code walkthrough. So this is the agenda for today's meetup. Hope this is good and clear to all. Yeah, Salesforce. So yeah, everyone knows the Salesforce. Like Salesforce, the cloud-based company. This is a CRM tool which is focused on client, and it handles on sales, customer service, marketing automation, and application development. So you can understand Salesforce. You have like you want to have a customer data 360-degree view of that data. Whenever you call, like same way you can say like Flipkart or Amazon have your data. So they store your all data, your everything, and they can predict. They have your sales data, your everything, customer data in a Salesforce. So their customer support team can help you in future purpose, in lead generation and everything. Whenever you call Amazon or Flipkart, they give you a status of your things and all. So Salesforce is used for customer relationship management and a lot of things. They have their own cloud, and it is there to manage your customer and do more relationship with you in selling you different things. They have different marketing automation and different customer service, different products which they can sell you. Slack, everyone knows the Slack. Like you must be using Slack or Teams in your companies. It's like a messaging tool, messaging app for business. Like same you use WhatsApp or your personal thing, you can say Slack. I hope everyone is aware of that. It's instance messaging tool. Like it brings different people to work as entire one team. So you can create different workspace, different channel, different groups. You can share text, audio, image file. You can have meetings, huddles, whatnot on the Slack. So it's very easy. And the best part is like I can connect with the colleagues like in other organizations. Let's say they're working in Infosys or Capgemini. I can invite them, and I can form a channel inside and outside our organization. And it's same like we are talking in person, face to face. So Slack is the messaging tool which we'll use today. We'll learn. The next thing is Gendex. So Gendex, it you can say is more like this some tool which helps in your ticket management, like your Jira or something like that. So it's there for your customer support. It helps. It has your tickets, your sales data, and other customer communication you can have in Gendex. It's a SaaS tool, so it helps in to grow your business and to manage your team. Let's say there is some bug or there is some ticket which is raised, so you can record that ticket in Gendex and someone can work on that ticket. It has a life cycle, like a new ticket will have an initial stage, then it will be on open, in progress, then resolved, reopen. So that is one of the use case. It comes with, it's very easy. It's like a SaaS product. It's very easy to implement and configure like with your business need. You can have your custom field, what you need and everything. It's a very good powerful reporting, like all according to your business requirement. So this is it very high level about the Gendex. So any question till now, anyone? I'm not seeing the chat window, but yeah, if
There is no
anyone.
question in the chat.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, what I will do very quickly, I will introduce the use cases which we are going to discuss. Yeah, so we have planned three use cases. So the first is we'll create a uh, and in particular incident case in Salesforce. We will create. So we'll fill some form, we'll create it, and it will be a triggered in Salesforce. So it will be we will listen to it, will show how you will it is done on update or through platform event. So we'll listen to that event case, and whatever the case is created in Salesforce, correspondingly a new ticket will be created in the Zendesk. Whatever the fields were there in the Salesforce, the same fields will be populated in the Zendesk, populating the same field. And whatever case is created in Salesforce, we will do some transformation and make it like a message which will be there in the Slack with all the details. And yeah, so this is the first use case. And of course, once that Slack message is created or a Gendex ticket is created, we will populate the Gendex ID or Slack ID back in the Salesforce, so meant to have a data synchronization. So we'll show you this. So this is the first use case. Second use case in Slack, if you have worked, so like there are different emojis. Like if you go here, like something is there, so there are different emojis. So like you can see there are like tons of emojis. So what my use case is, let's say someone does a eye rolling. So eye. So if someone click on this emojis, so it will say that ticket is in progress. And someone clicks on this emoji, white check mark, it will say that my ticket has been completed. So this is the second use case. And if anything's happened in Slack, anyone reacts to that message, MuleSoft will capture that, and with a white check mark, it will go to the resolved status in the Salesforce, and with an eye emoji, it will go to the open or in progress. The third use case, the ticket is already created in the Gendex, correct? But if any update is done, so we can update in number of ways. But for this use case, we are taking two scenarios. Let's say the service agent or the help desk personnel added some comment, like whatever is their finding. So any new comment is added in the Gendex ticket, we'll update that comment to the Salesforce in some field, some feed comments, and some place we'll add that comment. And the same message which is sorry the same comment which is updated on Gendex will reply in the Slack thread under that comment. Let's say we have a thread here, correct? So like someone this replied, so we can have a reply thread here, so we'll reply in that thread. So we'll do that. And second thing, if the status is changed, like the ticket is in progress, we change it to resolved or something. So correspondingly, we'll change that status in the Salesforce, and we'll change and we'll put a message like in Slack with a check mark and in progress for this. So we will do that. So this is the three use case. Any question on the use cases, first, second, or third? We'll go in depth, but just wanted you to understand the use cases which we are going to cover today. Any question, anything? If not, then yeah, I will ask Subham to take over from here. Yeah, Subham, you can share your screen.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Let me share. Yeah. So first, we will start with Salesforce. I will show you how we are going to do the configuration for Salesforce, how we are going to create an app in Slack, and how we are going to do a configuration in Zendesk. So for first, we will do the configuration for Salesforce. What you have to do, you simply have to go to developer Salesforce login. You have to click on developer edition sign up. And first, you have to fill all these details: first name, last name, your email address, role, company, country, region, postal code, and username. Once you provide all these details, then you will have to click here, sign me up. Once you do that, your trial account for Salesforce will be created. After that, I have already created my account for trial account, so it will not allow me to create again one more for that particular email address. So what I show you, once you create the account, your homepage should look like this. This is the Salesforce homepage. Here you can see object manager, setup, all these. Here in quick find, you can, if you want to search for anything, the case or anything, all these things are here. So this is the basic Salesforce homepage. So on our Salesforce, we will go to Object Manager. You can see there are many standards object in Salesforce. For example, account, activity, API anomaly. Like this, many standard objects are there in Salesforce. See? But for our use case, we will use we will do all the operations on this particular object, which is case object. But for example, if you have a requirement to do some operation on account object, you can perform the operation on account object or any opportunity object. Like that, you can perform your operation on any object. But for our use case, we will do all the configuration, all the operations on case object. So this is our case object. Now let me show you how we are going to create a case in our Salesforce. We will go to home. We will click on app launcher. We will search for case. This is the cases. Once you click, then you have to click a new case. Now here you have to fill the details. For example, for your case, you can select the status, whatever you want, in progress, escalated, testing, open, or completed. Whatever field you want to select, you can select that. And then case origin. You can select phone, email, web, or whatever your requirements are. Once you select these fields, for example, I will select phone, and once you click on save, your case is created. So like this, you will create a case in Salesforce. So let me show you. While creating a case, you will see all these fields like case owner, case number, contact name, account name. All these are default fields. But for our particular use case, we have created these two custom fields, which are Zendesk ticket ID and Slack message ID. So let me show you how we are going to create a custom fields in our Salesforce. So to create custom fields, we will same go to home. We will go to setup. Then we will go to object manager. We will quickly find our case object. So this is our case object. We will go to fields and relationship. So we have to create two new fields, that is Salesforce, that is Slack ID or Zendesk ID. So if you have to create a new field, you have to click on new. Once you click on new field, you have to select which type of field you want to create. Date, date time, email, number, percent for whatever field type you want to select, you can select that. For example, I will select text. Then we will click on next. Here you have to give your field name. For example, test. Length of your field 255 you can provide. Field name again test. And here you can fill details if you need, description, help text. Then you have to click on next. All these rules are auto generated. So you just simply need to click on next. After that, you have to click on save. So once you click on save, your custom field will get created. I have already created those two custom fields. Let me show you. Yeah, on we are on inside our case object. We have already created those two fields, that is Slack message ID, this one with text and 22255, and Zendesk ticket ID. So these two fields we have already created. So this is the basic setup you need to do for your Salesforce account. Now we will go to now we will see how we are going to create an app inside a Slack. So to create a new app, you have to go to your browser, search for api.slack.com. This link you have to create. Here you will see create an app. So to create an app, there are two ways. Either you can create your app from scratch or you can create your app from app manifest. I will show you how these two things are different. So first we will see you have to select your workspace. You have to select this workspace, like in which workspace, for example, Patna MuleSoft Meetup, or in which demo or episode, in which workspace you need to deploy your app. So for that, you have to select your workspace. Here you have to fill details like display information, your app name, settings, whatever settings you want to fill, or deploy enabled, socket mode, IG host, token rotation. All these things, if you provide, then these fields will be automatically will be present inside your app. So we will go back, we'll click on cancel. And now I will show you how to create it from scratch. For creating an app from scratch, you have to provide your app name, for example, demo. Same thing, you have to select your workspace. In which workspace you need to deploy your app. I'm going to select Patna MuleSoft Meetup. Then once you click on create app, your app will get created. I have already created this app. Let me show you how your app look like. Once you create an app, this is my app. Yeah. Once you create an app, your homepage should look like this. Here you will find all the app details. Like this is your app ID, unique app ID. This is an app date of creation when this app got created. These are your client ID and client secret. So one thing I wanted to highlight here, these client ID and client secret are very sensitive information. Never ever share your client ID or secret with anyone else. If you share these details with other person, then they will easily be easily accessible, be able to access your APIs. They can easily access your APIs. So never share your client ID and client secret with other persons. Okay. So these are all the basic information, display information, Mule Meetup app. And here, if you want to delete your app, you can simply delete this app. So all these details are here. Now we will do what we need, what basic setup we need to do this entire use case. For the entire use case, what setup we need to do? We just simply need to go to OAuth and permissions. We have to click here. Yeah. Once you come here, you will see this redirect URL. So to do the operation OAuth in your app, you have to provide this redirect URL so that your server should know like you are the only authorized person who is accessing this app. So you, when you try to do authentication, you have to provide the redirect URL so that you are the only one who is accessing the APIs. So you have, like this, you have to define HTTP local. If you are doing testing on your local host, you have to provide URL like this. And if you are doing on any cloud server, you have to define, give the URL like this. Scopes. So there are two types of scope, which are bot token scopes and user token scopes. So all these tokens scopes you need while performing this use case, which are channel history. Why we need channel history? To view messages and other public content in the channel. For example, this is our channel demo for Meetup. So to see the details for the app, like what details are there, what messages are there, we need those permissions. Simply we need the permissions like channel read, if we have to read the information from the channel, chat write, if we have to write something on that channel or send message to that channel, emoji read, if we have to read the emoji from that channel, group history, I am history. These all these scopes you need to do while performing your while doing this use case. So all these permissions you need to add: reactions read, reactions write, reminders read. In user token scopes, channel history, group history, all these scopes you need to add. If you have to find more details on this, you just simply have to go to this link, methods, web API methods. For all API methods, they will show you like what, for example, we are doing reactions. See, for reaction add, it will show what type of scopes you need. Here you can see what bot tokens you need to add for reactions add, what user tokens you need to add for the reaction add permissions. So like on this particular link, you will find all the details like related to scopes and permissions. Now let me get back to my app. So after you do these, after you add all these scopes and permission on your app, you simply need to click on reinstall to workspace. Once you click on reinstall to workspace, this app will get deployed to your workspace, which is Patna Mule Meetup. See, this app was created by a member of your workspace, and now this app is going need permission to act on that workspace. So once you click, you have to select the channel name. For our in our use case, we are using demo for Meetup, and then we will click on allow. Once you click on allow, now your app will got deployed to that workspace. See, added an integration to this channel Mule Meetup app. And also you can see here this app is also deployed on your workspace Mule Meetup app. Okay, now once you install your app on your workspace, you will see your tokens. This is the user auth token, this is your bot auth token. So on the while on the code, while do you do the configuration, you have to use these tokens on your code. Okay, now we will go to event subscription. We will click on event subscription. Yeah. So what happens whenever we are reacting to any emoji? For example, for this message, we are reacting with eyes emoji or white check mark emoji. So what this event API does, whenever we react with any emoji, or we can add we add any file, or we do any activity on our workspace, this event API will react to that. And it you have to configure a URL after, like for example, if we add any emoji on our workspace, then this URL will get hit and it will send a body. For example, which reaction you add, what is the time stamp, which user ID, user details, all these details will be sent on this event API. So you have to configure the event API so that whenever any activity happen on your workspace, this event API will react to that. So you have to add the URL, and same you have to add for which particular, like I have configured it for reaction add. So any reaction added on my workspace, this API will react to that. Okay. Similarly, for subscribe to bot events, you have to add this reaction added. And similarly, on behalf of user, you have to use this reaction underscore added. So these two scopes you need to add so that whenever we add any emoji on our workspace, it will react to that activity. Okay. So these all are things we need to perform on our Slack app. Now we will go to Zendesk. How we are
Subham,
going?
one question we have. So each time this event API uses HTTP post for each reaction.
Yes, post.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Any other question? Feel free to ask. Yeah. Yeah. Go, Subham. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now we are going to show what is Zendesk. Have to type Zendesk. You have to click on zendesk.com. We are going to create a trial account for our use case. We are going to click on free trial account. You have to provide your email address. Then you have same thing, first name, last name, all details, phone number, job title you can provide. Once you click on next, all these details you can fill and create a password. Once you click on complete trial sign up, your account will get created. Same, I have already created my account with this, so it will not allow me to again create one more account. So I will simply show you how the Zendesk is going to look like. Yeah, once you create an account, your Zendesk homepage should look like this. Okay. Now I will show you how we are going to create a ticket in Zendesk. You just simply need to go here, add, and then you need to click on create a ticket. Here, see, this is the user interface for creating a ticket. You just simply need to see add the requester, for example, demo. Here you can assign anything, support. Here you can add followers if you want to add any followers. Here you can provide tag details, type, question, incident, problem, whatever you want to select, priority, high, medium, low. So if once you field or here you can provide subject for your ticket, for example, yes, demo. This is the subject of your ticket. Here you can add comments of your ticket. Comment. Once you click on this, you have to submit it as new. Like this, your ticket will get created. I'll go to dashboard here. Yeah, test demo. See, less than a minute ago, this ticket is created.
Yeah, so when you go to the last page, yeah, here you can see all the statistics, how many tickets are open, how many are assigned to you, close. So you got to get a very good reporting out of this. Okay. So yeah, yeah, Subham, go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Like this, you create a ticket. So one thing you also noticed here, these two fields, custom fields, we also had it here. That is Salesforce ID and Slack ID. So you might have the question like why we are adding these custom fields. Two custom fields we added in that Salesforce account, which I have shown you. That is Slack ID and this one. Let me again show you. Yeah. Why are we creating these two custom fields? You might have a question, correct? These two custom fields we created here, and again in Zendesk, these two custom fields we are creating. So why we are creating these custom fields? We are for that answer is we are creating so that all three systems, that is Salesforce, Slack, and Zendesk, should be in sync. That's why we are creating these two fields. Let me give you an example. So for example, if we create a new ticket in our Salesforce, then how will our Zendesk system should know like which ticket is created or like for what message we are sending onto the Slack. So that all three systems, all our three systems should be in sync. For that, we are creating this two fields. For example, if I create a now, if we create a new ticket inside our Salesforce, then when we create a when we create a ticket in Zendesk, we should know like for which particular Salesforce case ID this ticket is created. So the all systems should be in sync. That's why we are creating these custom fields. Okay. Now for creating a webhook, let me show you. We will go to settings.
So I hope all are aware of the webhook. Anyone who wants to tell what a webhook is? Anyone? Like what is a webhook? Why we use? Anyone? Feel free. Is like unmute yourself and tell us. Anyone?
You can write in the chat also.
Yeah, yeah. Like we have mic is enabled for all. So why we use a webhook? In general, leave this use case. Yeah, Prasant, you want to tell? Okay, so you can explain. Yeah.
Okay. So why we are creating a webhook in our Zendesk? So for example, we are creating a ticket and we are doing any operation like while we are creating a ticket, we are updating a ticket, or we are performing any operation on our ticket. So how we are going to send the system to other system, like how we are going to post a message to other system, like by what ticket got created or what is things. So for that, let me go to admin center. Here we will search for webhooks. We'll click on webhooks. Yeah, like this we have endpoints defined. So for example, we for this our particular use case, whenever any new comment added in the ticket, for that this webhook will get triggered and it will send a body like Salesforce ID, Slack ID, or payload. You can do any, you can select the type of the payload. And like in this format, this is the endpoint, Patna MuleSoft Meetup. This is the request body post. It will send a post method, request format JSON. All these things you will see on your, whenever any new comment get triggered, this webhook will react to that comment. Okay. I will show you one example also. This is our webhook. Once you click drop down, yeah, for our webhook, it will send a body like this: ticket latest comment ID, Slack ID, Salesforce ID. Like this, it will send a request to that API on this. Okay. And similarly, we will create a trigger. We'll find triggers, click on triggers. Yeah. So any status update happens on our ticket, the trigger will react to it. Any new comment added on our ticket, so that for that a trigger will react to this. Okay, let me show you how a trigger looks like. See, you simply need to provide trigger name, descriptions, and you have to give the conditions like whenever any comment is present, for example, public or private, for any comment is added, the trigger will react to this, and this is our body. Like this, we will sending our body to our API, which we configured in our webhook. Okay. So yeah, all these basic setups you need to perform for our use case. Yeah. So that's it. Now I will hand over our mic to Trishla.
Yeah, thank you, Subham. Thank you for giving all details. Anyone have any question before Trisla starts and give the demo? Anyone had any question on the use case or any configuration? We can cover in the demo, but if feel free to ask. Yeah, Trisla, you can start sharing your screen in the meanwhile.
Okay.
Like, yeah, webhook is simply,
I have.
yeah, please go ahead.
Actually, I have a question. Like the Zendesk trigger was just solved. So is that Zendesk triggers anyway related with Salesforce trigger?
No, trigger is not related. It's like I will give you a simple example. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
you are doing some order and all, correct? You have an order API which you do lot of orders like, and you will do the payment and everything, correct? So what you want whenever a cancellation happens, so you will subscribe, you will pull that the producer or the server every 5 minute 10 minute. Let's say any order is cancelled, I want to know, so that I want to do a refund and cancel the order. It happens in a e-commerce business, correct? It's a very common scenario. So what you have to do, if you don't have any webhook, you need to put a scheduler or some batch job which will continuously poll after every 5 minute 10 minute or whatever is your like use case. But that is a waste of resource because every time you are polling and not getting anything. Rather what we do, the API or the consumer thing, they will create an HTTP post endpoint, and they will create a endpoint, and they will give the condition. If some an order is cancelled, the producer, the server only will tell the consumer something has cancelled, and it will notify you, and then you can start the refund or canceling the order. So that is the general use case of webhooks. and the answer is not, it's not related. Yeah. Okay, any other question?
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Amit.
Any other question in this webhook? Is like not related to Gendex or Salesforce or MuleSoft. It's a common, like common thing used in many technology API development. Yep. Okay, Trisla. Yeah. Cipher suits. Cipher suit. We They're used for encryption and decryption, Monica. But like I think that is related to encryption description. Do you have any particular question on that? Like what happens we do an HTTPS, then the client and server exchange, like if you do two phase or one way SSL or two-way SSL, they exchange some key algorithm. Cipher suit is there, so take up one of the things. So it's a bit different topic, but yeah. Any particular question, if we can help, let us know. Yeah, Trisla, go ahead and start the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Subham.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we'll discuss what are the requirements if we want to start with these things in MuleSoft. So we'll require a Salesforce account, a Slack account, um, a Slack app, which we just discussed right now, a Zendesk account, Anypoint Studio, and Anypoint platform. So these are the basic prerequisites which are required to start with our development and for the use case which we discussed. So, okay, now we'll discuss what are the important things or important credentials we'll require for the Salesforce configuration. So we'll require Salesforce username, password, token. Token is the access token and the URL. So these, if you want to connect to Salesforce, we'll require these few things. If you want to connect via basic authentication, then for Slack, we'll require Slack consumer key, consumer secret, and then which is the client ID and client secret, and then the authorization URL, the access token URL. Then for callback configuration, we'll require a listener configuration, which should be an HTTPS listener, and a callback path, an authorized path, and the external callback URL. So these are the few things which are required. Then these are the auth scopes and permissions we discussed when we create an app and we want to provide these scopes. So we can provide according to our requirement. There are two types of scopes: bot scope and user token scope. So bot scope is like you send any message or you react to any message. So if you want to see the name of bot, in that case you have to provide all these permissions in the bot scope, and also the um, auth token, we have to use the bot token. And if we provide all these permissions in user token, so then it will send a message or react to a message with my name in it. So yeah, and these are the few permissions which are there. We can write in a chat, we can read emojis, then we can check the group history, IM history, permissions, incoming webhooks. So these are the few scopes. According to our requirement, according to our use case, we can use any of them. Then next comes the Zendesk configuration. So to connect to Zendesk via MuleSoft, if you want to use basic authentication, we need Zendesk username, password, the base URI, and the API version. So we discussed right now, if you want to configure to webhook, we need two things. One is webhook and one is triggers. So webhook sends an HTTP request to a specified URL and the response of activity we get. So for example, we want to configure a webhook to be triggered as soon as a new ticket is created or the status is updated. So in that case, we can create a webhook and it needs a trigger to be connected with. And inside the trigger, we provides the condition that if it meets so and so condition, then only it triggers the endpoint which we have given. So we'll discuss that as well. Okay, so now let's start with the demo. So we have already created and deployed the code. So first we'll start with the global.xml where we have provided all the configurations. So we'll start with the Salesforce configuration. So we need the username, password, security token, and auth URL. So after we get all these things, it should be basic authentication, and then we can just do a test connection to see if we are able to connect to Salesforce or not. Okay, so once this is successful, then we can go on to the next configuration, which is the Slack connector configuration. So in Slack connector configuration, we need the base URI, then the consumer key and the consumer secret, we'll get it from the app. So This is the app which we have created. App credentials. Over here you can see we have the client ID and client secret. So these two things we have to put it in consumer key and secret. The authorized URL will be this Slack authorized URL. Then this is the access token where we can get the access token from using these consumer key and secret. Then the scopes. So scope we have to provide according to our requirement. So over here we are writing a new message, we are sending a new message, we are also writing an reactions. If you want to read any reaction, so that also you have to add the scopes for it. Then this listener path. So this is the HTTPS listener which we have configured. So if I show you the configuration for it, so it's an HTTPS. The port is 8082, and this is just the timeout. So we need an HTTPS, and then slash callback is the callback path for it. Slash authorized path. We need to get access token once we deploy the application. So this is to get an access token. Then this is the external callback app. So we have deployed this application in Anypoint platform. So as soon as a new message comes in or something comes in, so it knows that we have to hit this endpoint to call back. Also, we have provided this in event subscriptions. So an event subscription, if you see, this URL is the URL which we have deployed to Anypoint platform. So
Trisla, maybe like many people might be new. You can tell what is Studio, maybe a bit of the configuration
okay,
file and what is Anypoint platform, because many people are new here. So what
okay,
is
okay,
global file, how the
okay.
connector looks like, a
Mhm.
bit, not much, but a basics. Yeah, it will help
Okay,
people.
okay. Yeah, sure. So Anypoint Studio, it's used to create the flows, create the XML file, create a Mule project. So it is used to create a Mule project. The Anypoint Studio is used for that. And this is Anypoint platform. So if I show you, Anypoint platform is used to deploy our, so we have multiple things in this also. Access management, if we want to provide someone any access, we want to see audit logs, business groups, so all these are present in access management. Then API manager, if we want to provide any auth permissions, SLAs, policies, we want to implement any policies, client ID, client secret, so all these can be done through API manager. Runtime manager is where we deploy all our applications. So if I go to the runtime manager, it has the API which we have deployed. So if you see, it gives, we have to deploy a jar file, and we can just start it, stop it, restart it, delete it from here. And it gives how many vcores is there, what is the version, in what region it is deployed. So runtime manager is used for that. Then API governs. So let me go back to this page, the root page. Okay, API governs is used to monitor or govern any API which is there. Visualizer, it used to see the network of the API, that in a way which API is calling which one, and it gives a graph of the API. Then monitoring is used to see the health of the application, and it is used for troubleshooting. Then secret manager, if you want to store any credentials, and we can directly access it from the secret manager. So these are the basic things which are there in the Anypoint platform. So we have created a code in Anypoint Studio. The global.xml file has all the connector configurations. So it will have all the like if you want to connect to Salesforce, Slack, Zendesk, all these things are there in the global.xml. Then okay, so yeah, let me window perspective. Okay. So if you want to create any new configuration, you can just go and create, and you can just search Salesforce over here. If you want to create a Salesforce, then if you want to create a Slack configuration or Zendesk, so all these things are there. If any connector you're not able to find it over here, then you can just take it from the exchange. So over here in the Mule palette, you can see many connectors. And if you're not able to find anyone, you can just go to exchange, search an exchange, and write the name over here. So if it is Zendex, they've already imported it. But if you're doing it for the first time, you can just take this Zendex connector, click on add, and then it adds to the Mule palette. and then you can directly use it. So these are the Zendesk connectors which are available. We'll discuss about that. So okay, going back to the configuration. So we have discussed the Slack configuration. Now we'll talk about the Zendesk connector. So Zendesk connector uses username, password. This is the base URI. So this is the URI which we are hitting for the Zendesk. So this starts with the base URI, and the version which we are using is V2 version. So again, if you want to test the connection, we can just hit on this. And yeah, the connection is successful. So now we have defined all the connections. Now we'll start with individual use case. So the first use case which we discussed, let me go back to the use case. Okay, so this is the first use case. As soon as a new case is created in Salesforce, it goes to the MuleSoft, then it creates this corresponding ticket in Zendesk as well, and it sends the case details in Slack. So let me give you a demo about this, and then we can go through the code how it works. So I'll create a new case in Salesforce. The status is new. Priority, we can just set anything like hi. Case origin, I can set it as phone. If you see this Slack ID, I'm keeping it blank. The Zendesk ID is also blank. It will be populated automatically as soon as they create the corresponding tickets in Zendesk and Slack. So now I can just write subject as a demo ticket for Meetup. Then description for Meetup ticket. Okay, now I'll just save this ticket. This case is created. Now we have already deployed the application. So if you see, we have put an on new object, which is as soon as a new case is created, it gets triggered. We can specify the frequency of it. So right now we have specified the frequency as 1 minute. So after every 1 minute, it will poll the Salesforce and see if any new case ticket has been created or not. If you want, you can use an event, a platform event also. So someone will have to create a platform event in the Salesforce, and then you can just use subscriber, channel subscriber over here. And in the subscriber, you can just give what is the channel name you want to hear. So as soon as this will be a real time. As soon as a new channel gets created, as soon as a new case gets created, this channel will be triggered, and this will be a real time. We don't have to wait for like any fixed interval. So right now we have created on new object. So if I show you the Slack message, this is the ticket which got created. So this is the Salesforce case number. If I show the case number is 1095. 1095. Then it says that the Zendesk ticket is 35. So let's see in the Zendesk any ticket is created or not. So you see 1 minute ago, this ticket was created, demo ticket for Meetup, and it got the description, that description for Meetup. Now, if you see, it has the Salesforce ID in that, it has the Slack ID. 1095 is the Salesforce ticket which we created right now, and the Slack ID is this message ID. So each message has a ID which is the timestamp of that message. So okay, so we got the Zendesk ID as 35. So if you see, the ticket number is 35. So this is also correct. Then next is we are getting the status. So status is new right now. The subject is demo for Meetup, and this is the description. So all these things are getting populated. So this is the entire use case one. So as soon as, if we go to the flow, how the flow will look like, as soon as a new case is created, the flow gets triggered and it goes to this Salesforce Zendesk main flow. Now we are just setting the original payload over here. Then we are setting all the things which are there. So whatever we want to map. So we are getting the Slack ID, then the Salesforce ID, we are getting the Salesforce ID for the case number. Status is, we are getting the status also, and Zendesk also we are getting it. Even though the Zendesk ID will be null, but we'll replace this variable. So now we go and create a ticket in Zendesk. So if I go to this reference flow, this is the mapping for the ticket. So all the things, all the fields, even if you create a custom field. So yeah, someone asked a question that how can we create a custom field in the Zendesk. So if I go to object and rules, and if I go to fields, so like we can create this custom field in Salesforce, we can have it in this also. So we have created these two custom fields. If you see the custom fields, Salesforce ID and Slack ID, you just have to add a new field, and you can just select if you want to give a text. So you can just give a text, you can just give a name, and just the information that anyone can edit, only customers can edit, or view only permission. And then you can hit on save. So we have already created these two, Salesforce ID and Slack ID. So in this ticket, under the ticket, we'll have subject, we'll have comment, and we'll have Salesforce ID. So we are populating all these things in the Zendesk while creating the ticket. Now, if you see, a new ticket has been created. This ticket connector, this creator ticket connector is Zendesk connector, and we just have to provide the payload which we gave, which should be ticket, and then what is the subject, the comment which we are getting from the Salesforce. Then we call this connector, and it's a straight away connector. We just have to provide the payload. Now the ticket has been created in Zendesk. Now we are storing what the ticket number is there. So as soon as we create a new ticket in Zendesk, we'll get the ticket number, that uh, ticket number 35 has been created in Zendesk. Now the next step is we send a new message to Slack. So this is the message we send to Slack. So now how do we do the mapping for that? So we just convert, we are just flattening the JSON. So whatever payload we are getting from the Salesforce, we are just flattening that JSON. Then over here, we are mapping it. So if you see the Salesforce number, this Zendesk number, case status, all these fields we are getting over here also. So we are just mapping it, and whichever is not there, like the subcategory, we are not populating it. The category 2, we are not populating it. So it will go as null. And we're just doing skip on null everywhere. So wherever it is null, it just removes that. And the ones which has the value, it should show that in the Slack message, like this message. Now we go on, we format the message. So the message should be of the form of string. So we are just formatting that entire message.
Trifla, sorry to interrupt. I just have one question.
Mhm.
The Slack message that you have created the pattern JSON payload, is that custom fields that you have created on your own, or it's predefined fields in Slack?
In Slack, no, in Slack, we don't have any custom field. So Slack is just a message. This
Yeah,
is the
I
message
understand.
which,
So Salesforce case number is your field that you have created on your own. You can give any number, right? According to your convenience. Is that so?
Salesforce case number, we get it. Like it's a by default field.
No, 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 no.
This,
That's what. No, I'm not asking actually.
Mhm.
I'm asking whatever fields you have given, like Salesforce number, case number, and other things. So
Mhm.
those fields, if I call a particular API, the API should have a predefined field, right? If you call an
Correct.
API. So
Correct.
here you are calling the Slack. So my question is, the fields you are giving, is that fields is predefined that okay you have to set by this certain field, that this is the predefined field you have to use, or this you can give on your own? I mean
So
you can
these fields, are
define
you
the
referring to
document.
these fields?
Yes, I'm talking about these fields.
So these fields, we have defined it. If you want, you can have other fields also. So
That's
like
what
this
I'm asking.
subcategory 2, we have defined it according to our requirement. You can
Yeah.
have any of the fields which you want. You can just map it accordingly.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's answer
Yeah,
my
and
question.
whichever, even the Zendesk reference number, if you want to give
Mhm.
some other name, that Zendesk ticket, so
Yeah.
it's fine. It's just a Slack message. So whatever naming convention you give, it works.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Okay. So now after formatting the message, we are just making it a string. So now we have converted that to a string. Now, next we are mapping the message. So for mapping the message, we have to give the channel name. So channel name is the ID, the Slack ID, and the text is the payload. So the payload is what we converted into string right now. So the string we gave, and then yeah, the channel and these details. So we are just doing that, and then we use the send message connector. So in send message, we just pass the payload, and this is the connector configuration. So so these are the mandatory fields. The channel name, if you see, you can get it from here. So whatever is the channel, you on the bottom you get the channel ID. So you have to put that channel ID. We are reading that from a property file, and the text is has to be a string payload. Now we send the message, and after we send the message, we get a response which has the timestamp, which is the message ID. So each message which we send has a particular message ID to it. Now we have sent a message. Now we are updating the Slack ID and the Salesforce ID in Zendesk. So if I show you, now next step is we want to have a like relationship both places, in Salesforce as well and in Zendesk also. So if you see this Zendesk ticket, it has the Slack ID and Salesforce ID. So now we have to update it, like, it doesn't come directly. The message has been sent to Slack, and now we got the Slack ID. So we have to update both these fields in Zendesk. So if I go to this reference flow, I'm mapping this. So this is one thing. If you want to update, or if you want to create any field in Zendesk, if it is a custom field, you have to map it in this way, that you have to give ticket, and under that you have to give custom fields and the field ID. So each field has a particular ID associated to it, like this one. Each custom field, the Salesforce ID is this one. So if I want to update any field, so I give the ID is whatever this ID is, 1 to 4, in this way, and then I give the value, what value I want, and this is for the Slack ID and the Salesforce ID. So in this way, I will provide IDs for both the custom fields that I want to update it. Now this is an updated ticket connector which is used in Zendesk. So I'm just giving a ticket ID. So what ticket you want to update, and this is the payload. Like, these fields I want to update, and for which ticket I want to update. So you have to give the Zendesk ticket number, which we have stored in a variable. We are giving it, and we're just putting the payload. Now we've updated Slack ID and Salesforce ID in Zendesk. Now the last step is we have to update Zendesk ID and Slack ID in Salesforce. So this is there, this case is there. When I created this case, you've seen that I did not put any value to Zendesk ID and the Slack ID. As soon as we created it, it automatically gets populated after it created a new ticket in Zendesk and sent a message in Slack. So this is accomplished over here, that we are updating the Slack ID and the Salesforce ID, the Slack ID and the Zendesk ID in Salesforce. So we are just querying the Salesforce first, that get ID from case where case number is this. We know the case number. We just want to get the ID. Once we got the ID and the size of payload is greater than 0, we are setting the payload over here. That this Zendesk field, this is the custom field in Salesforce, and this Slack message ID. This is also a custom field. We want so and so values for it. Once we map it, we do an upsert. And upsert, we are upserting the case object based on the external field ID. So after upserting it,
Hey, Trisha, I have a
yeah.
question. When you say size of payload is greater than zero, so what does that actually mean?
So what is happening when we got this new case created? So we might have an ID in it, we might not have ID in it, but we'll definitely have the case number. This is the case number.
ID of what? ID of
Salesforce
case.
ID. Yeah,
The Salesforce ID for the case, right?
correct.
So definitely it would be created. Definitely it would be created with a particular case ID, no? With some unique
Correct.
case ID.
But we are using on new object over here. Let's say if we use platform event, the platform event gives a customized payload, what all payload you want. And in that, sometimes the ID comes in, sometimes it doesn't. Like, someone might put an ID in it, or someone might not put an ID. We just want to give, someone might give a case number also, it is also a unique field.
Correct.
So that's why we are taking the scenario that we didn't get an ID. We didn't get an ID, so we are just retrieving that ID based on this case number.
Okay. So your condition was keeping that particular case, in like that particular case, that platform event is fired, and it happens that it does not create a ID, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
It
Okay.
might create an ID, but it won't send it. So we are
Okay.
taking the worst case scenario. If it is sending it, then it's pretty easy. We don't have to put this query also, and all of these can be outside the choice router.
Yeah, I understood. Thank you.
Okay, so now we upserted it. So after upserting, we are just logging it that it is successful or not, and then just the end logger. Now the next step, we have updated everything, and then it's just the end logger. So we are ending the flow. So this is the entire use case first, in which first we, as soon as the create a ticket gets manually created in Salesforce, we are creating a ticket in Zendesk, sending a new message, updating the Slack ID and Salesforce ID in Zendesk, and updating the Zendesk ID and Slack ID in Salesforce. So this is the entire flow. Does anyone have any doubts in the first use case?
Anyone wants to check anything like configuration or anything like we are using all the Salesforce, Slack, and Gendex inbuilt connector provided by the MuleSoft. You might have seen Upsert in Salesforce or Gendex. The like Trisla, can you show Gendex connector and
Sure.
Slack connector? That will be helpful, I guess. So, like let's say Gendex connector. So these are the operations which is provided. These are the connectors, like create a ticket, authorize, Upsert. So it does the heavy lifting, and we just need to provide the configuration. Same goes with the Slack and Salesforce, the Slack, and so yeah. So
Correct.
yeah, so Salesforce, yeah,
So,
like yeah,
Amit,
go ahead. Uh,
Amit, how about if we have a,
hmm?
more customized thing, more logical thing we need to write, okay,
Like
where we can
any
handle it. Like in Salesforce, we have
huh?
a developer console, we have a Apex class where we can
Correct?
write our code. Mhm.
Yes, yes. Yeah, you have okay. Let's say Trisla, I think Salesforce query can we can show him, correct?
Hmm.
Yeah, Salesforce query. Yeah.
Over here. Yeah.
Yeah, like you want to write some query, yeah, just drag and drop, and we can write our code query here. I guess correct. So if
Yeah.
you yeah, if you open here, so you can write your Salesforce query here. More controlled thing, like more which you want. We can pass parameter and everything here. And what we do normally, like we go and run our query in Salesforce, Apex, and whatever you said, and we put the same query here, and it works normally. This is the approach we follow because we'll have the access to Salesforce console and all this. Apex, we can write this. I think we can write Apex query also in Salesforce, correct? In MuleSoft.
I'm not sure about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I have also.
I'll have to check that
Yeah,
too.
we have just check the Apex. But we have a lot
This
of
query has multiple options.
yes,
We
yes.
can query XML string, stream, and all these things.
But
This
I
Q query, yeah,
yeah,
no,
I
this is
think
different.
that Apex class we can call some way, some way. Like we can use HTTP requester, so we have different things. Yeah, this
Mhm.
yeah invokes there. Yeah,
So Amit, I feel we can create invocable Apex class and we can
yeah,
expose, then we can call from here.
yeah, yeah. We can see invoke Apex REST method, correct?
Right,
So
right.
yeah, we can consume it like web services. Yeah.
Exactly.
So with Salesforce, we have very good what you say integration in MuleSoft. Like almost everything we can do. You can see here we can put everything, class name and everything we can define and just call it.
Yeah.
Hope it answers your question. For Slack configuration, do we have to perform OAuth dance or it will perform on its own?
No, no, we don't have to. If you see in Slack, sorry, in Slack, yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, in
Yes,
Slack
we
we
have to
have to.
perform.
yeah.
So we have this URL slash authorize, which we mentioned over here. If I show in the global, this slash authorize. So as soon as we do it, I can show you. This is the endpoint which we deployed. So we have to do this slash authorize. And when I click on enter, see, it says that this is the app which we created, MuleSoft Meetup app. It's requesting this permission. So I can just allow it. Yeah, and it says successfully retrieve the access token. So this is the way you need to authorize it. Like when you deploy the application, you have to do it for the first time.
Yeah, I think yeah, Trisla, we are good. We to finish on time, just go back and uh,
Correct.
clean
Yeah,
the things which you have added. Otherwise, it will throw errors.
sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now this is the Slack Salesforce implementation, the use case too. So I can just give a quick demo what we are expecting in use case two. So it's pretty simple. If I see this is the new case which I created in Salesforce, if I see the status over here, it's new. Even in edit, if I show you the status is new over here. I'll just cancel it. The next use case is if someone does this eyes emoji. I reacted with this eyes emoji to this message. So it should automatically go in Salesforce and it should change the status to open. Now let me refresh this thing. You see the status changed.
Open.
Yeah,
It is
the
changed to
status
open. We
changed
can
to
see on the
correct.
top left.
Okay, yeah, over here also you can see, and it is just loading. So over here also you can see that it changed to open. So in this way you can define different emojis. For which emoji you can do the mapping for this. Let's say we do this white check mark, and for this we have done that. As soon as someone ticks this white check mark, the case status should be closed, or it should be changed to resolved. So if you see the status, it's changed to resolved over here. Over here also you can see that. So this is the entire mapping. Now if I do some any other emoji, let's say I did this nicely done, it doesn't change any status because I haven't provided any mapping for this. If I show you the logs also for this thing, if I show you, this is the application which I deployed, logs. It says, see, it says someone raised hands, which is this one, the raised hand ones, and it says default condition was not a right emoji or anything. It was not a default one, so it didn't do anything. So in this way we will know. If I react with any other emoji, let's say I react with a smile face. So this emoji name, if you see, slightly smiling face. Now if I show you the logs, it says someone reacted with slightly smiling face. So in this way each emoji has a particular name associated with it. So now I can show you what code we have done. So we have provided a listener, which is an HTTPS listener, and we have given a slash event endpoint. This endpoint is deployed in the uh, event subscriptions, which is like a webhook, which is like a platform event. If you consider Salesforce, so as soon as this is slash event, this is the URL which is there, and we have given as soon as a reaction gets added. So whenever someone adds the reaction, it should subscribe to this event. So now it's just the start logger. Over here we are storing what is the reaction. If it is just a smiling face, if it is raised hands, what is the reaction, and what is the timestamp. So timestamp is, each message has a timestamp, which is when it was sent. This timestamp corresponds to the Slack ID, the message ID for each message, and it is unique for every message. So we are just checking what is the timestamp for it. Now this is an HTTP request. This slack.url, I can show you what is the URL. This URL, this URL is used to check if the message, we send a message ID, if the message is a parent message or not. So it is used to check if this is the channel name, and in that this is the timestamp. So if I show you, it is a get endpoint, and in headers we are just passing the authorization, and in query parameters we are just passing the timestamp, that is this timestamp a parent message or not. So whatever response we are getting, it gives the parent timestamp also and the thread timestamp, that for that message is there any thread timestamp or not. So we are checking if both the parent timestamp and the thread timestamp are equal. That means it's the same message, it is a parent message only. So we are just checking if this is a parent message. Why we are checking that? Because let's say if this is the message and someone reacts to this child message over here with a eyes emoji, so it should not change the status at that time. It should say that it is not a parent message, someone reacted to a child message. See, if I show you in the logs, it says not a parent message. So that's why we need to check it, that only for that this case the it should be reacted. So now after checking it, we go to this choice router, and if the parent is true, now we are just checking what is the reaction. So over here in this choice router, if the reaction is white check mark, which is this check mark emoji, then the status should be updated to resolved. So we will do that mapping. It is successful. Now if it is eyes emoji, then the status is again successful. Now for the default one, it is failed because it is not a default emoji. It just gives the condition that it is not a default emoji. Now if I go to this mapping where we are updating the same status in Salesforce, so again we are querying it. We can query it or not based on if we want to have it. So why we are querying it? Because we have the Slack message ID. As soon as someone reacts to this message, we know the Slack message ID, but we want to get the ID, the Salesforce ID for this thing. So we are just getting that ID, and if the payload size is greater than 0, we are just updating it. So over here, if you see, how do we update it? We see that if the reaction is white check mark, then update it to resolved, else update it to open. You can also put like if it is white check mark, then it is resolved, else if it is eyes emoji, then update it to open. In this way you can provide multiple conditions. So in this way we are just providing the condition, we are upserting it, we are upserting that particular ID, and then just the end. So this is the entire second use case. You go in, you react with a message, you check if that message is a parent message or not, you check if it is the relevant emoji or not, and if it meets all the condition, we change the status in the Salesforce. So this is the entire use case too. Does anyone have any doubts for this?
Trishla, if I add comment, can I add comment in the ticket in Slack, and how to read that in that case?
So it will if I add test comment, if I show you the logs, it didn't do anything because the event subscription is not defined for that. To define
Mhm.
it for that, we have added just the reaction added.
Reaction added, okay.
Exactly. You can have multiple these things. You can just have chat.
Hmm.
Just see what is there for chat. Meta message posted, a meta message is posted. Okay. If I say added, pin added, emoji added. Okay, you'll have to see what is the name for that.
Hmm.
Uh, DND read
Look for reply.
reply. Okay, reply is not there. Hmm.
Comment
File created. File. Sorry.
or comment. You can.
Okay. No.
No.
I think this message meta was posted. I think this might also work. Or if any message is updated, this might also work. So we'll have to check it.
Hmm. Okay,
For
got it.
which we want to subscribe it. Even if you want to subscribe, let's say someone adds this reaction by mistake. I added this tick mark by mistake and I want to untick it. So in that also you can add that reaction removed. If
Okay.
someone removes the reaction. So in this way, there are different subscriber events which you can have.
Okay, thank you. So in that case, I need to configure in my Slack configuration that what are the
Yeah.
events I want to read. Okay.
Exactly. In your event subscriptions inside your Slack app. Does anyone have any other doubts? Okay. Now we can go on to the use case 3, which is from Zendesk to Salesforce. So let me show you what exactly we want over here. Let's say uh, this is the Zendesk ticket. Let me open the latest Zendesk ticket. Demo for Meetup. Let's say I add a new comment that, hey, I need more clarifications for this ticket. I've added this new comment. I'll submit it as open. Now, what it should do, as soon as I add a new comment in Zendesk, it should go to that particular case. So this is the case number, and it should add to the comments inside that case that someone needs more clarification on this. See, I added this comment that need more clarification in the ticket. So this is whatever comment which I post in Zendesk, it should come to the that Salesforce case also. And this is the message. This is the Slack message. So it should also reply to that message that a new comment was added to Zendesk, and this is the comment. So whenever we do that, if we get it from the webhook, we'll get this hyphens, we'll get this padding in the beginning. So you can unpad it, like you can remove all these paddings. So we are just putting whatever straight away which we are getting it. So this is the third use case, that as soon as someone adds a new comment in Zendesk, it should go and add it to the Salesforce also. We can add it, we can modify it in this way, that someone changes the status. If I change the status over here to solved, right now it's open, I'll change the status to solved. It should go in Salesforce and it should update the status to solved. So this status is changed to resolved. So in this way, we have added two conditions. If someone changes the status or if someone changes. So if you see in the message update, we are just putting in that thread that the status in Zendesk is changed to solved. So in this way, we are adding all the updates, whichever we get from the Zendesk, in that particular message thread only for that case. So now let's look at the code. So for this, let me show you the webhooks. The webhook are the crucial things over here. So we have created two webhook. One is when a new comment is added, and second is when a status is updated. This is the URL for both. If I show you when a new comment is added, so as soon as a new comment is added, it should hit this endpoint. The method is post, and we have given the JSON body as the format. And this is all the same. Now, even subscription. As soon as the web, what trigger should be there? You have to provide a trigger over here. So let me open the trigger now. These are the triggers. In this, we have created status update trigger and new comment trigger. Let me open the new comment trigger. So in the beginning, you have to provide the conditions that all of the following conditions might meet or any one of the following. So I want all of the following to meet. The comment is added. It can be a public comment or a private comment. So you can add more conditions. Let's say I want if the Slack Salesforce ID is present. And let's say if the, do we have for Slack? Yeah, the Slack message ID is present. So we can provide multiple conditions. You can also give, let's say, if the brand name is so and so value, if is API. So in this way, you can provide multiple conditions to it. And whenever all these conditions meet, it will trigger. It will trigger. Now in actions, what do you want? You have to give an active webhook that as soon as it meets, you have to notify to an active webhook. So these are the two webhooks: new comment webhook and status webhook. So I wanted to notify to the new comment webhook and what body I want to send. So if you see this available placeholders, it will have multiple fields. You might want to send ticket assignee last name, first name, brand name, CC names. All these names are there, the due date, external ID, ticket ID. For us, we are just taking what is the latest comment, what is the Zendesk ID, what is the Slack ID, and what is the Salesforce ID. For any, these two are the custom fields. In case of custom fields, you have to give underscore field underscore what is the field ID. So in this way, you have to provide the JSON body. Now, once you've provided the JSON body, let me go. So discard changes. I'm just discarding the changes. This is for the comment and for the update. If the status is updated, in the condition, you can just provide if the status is changed. Let's say if you want only the status is changed to pending, then only it should trigger. So in this way, you can provide different condition. So in our case, we are just saying if the status is changed, then it should trigger the status update. And in the body, we just want what is the status, what is the ID, Slack ID, and Salesforce ID. Now let me cancel it. Let me show in the webhook. We triggered it right now a few times. So inside this thing, let me add one more comment. Second comment. I've added this new comment. Now, see, it got triggered. it didn't give the Salesforce ID and Slack ID, because for that ticket there was no Salesforce ID and Slack ID. Now let me go to the one which has these IDs. So I recently solved the ticket, which is this demo for Meetup. I can again change the status to as open. So if you see the Anypoint Studio, see, this is the ticket. This is the ticket number 35. The status got changed to open. This is the Slack ID, and this is the Salesforce ID. So see, and all these comments, we are just getting it. The status changed in this way. Now, if I add any new comment to it, demo comment and submitted. See, this is the new event. It says demo comment ID Slack ID Salesforce ID. And again, over here, you got the same message. So now let's see the implementation. So this is the listener, which is the slash webhook slash ticket. So this is for the status update listener, which we have provided. As soon as the ticket status is updated, so we are just storing what is the status, what is the original payload, Slack ID, Zendesk ID, and Salesforce ID. Now we are replying that same to the thread. So we are just checking if it is a parent message. After it is checked that it is a parent message, we just reply it. So even when you want to reply it inside a thread, you have to use the send message component only. And in the body, you have to provide what is the channel name, the text. These two are same when you want to send a new message also. But if you provide the thread timestamp, that means the parent body timestamp that I want to reply to this message. So I have to give the timestamp for this message. So then it gets replied inside the thread. So if you provide this thread timestamp, then it replies to that message thread. Where then we use the send message connector. Then we are just checking if the payload status is pending. Then this is the reaction add. So it just, you have to give the name of that reaction and the timestamp for which message you want to react. So after giving this, so it reacts with the eyes emoji, or it reacts with the white check mark emoji. So in this way it keeps on reacting to this message. See, all these message emojis, it gets reacted. And then just the end logger. So now what we did, as soon as the status is changed, we replied to that message thread, we reacted with an emoji, and we are just updating the status same. So this is the status we are updating in Salesforce to on hold pending, again on hold pending, or to open status in this way. And again, this is the same flow. To we query it, we update the status in Salesforce, we upsert it, and then just the end logger. So this entire flow is used to change the status. It replies to the thread, it reacts with an emoji in the Slack message, and then it updates the status in Salesforce. Now this is to add a new comment. So we do all these mapping. So see, this visibility, there are multiple things. If you add any new comment over here, there are two types of comments in this. You can have a public reply, or you can have an internal note. So that message is internal message. That message, if you want to just provide an internal note, so that should appear in the form of internal. If you see this message internal, it should appear in the form of internal. So this can be accomplished using visibility. So when you put a comment in Salesforce, there's a way of providing the visibility to all users or to only the internal users. So this way you can provide the visibility, the comment, original payload, Slack ID, message ID, all these things are same. Then we are just setting it that this is the message we get in the reply. That comment in Zendesk, this is a new comment which has been added. The comment, then we are just replying to that thread. And over here, we are just adding the comment to Salesforce. So we are just querying it. Then whatever is the comment log, we are just adding it. So if you see, we are upserting it to the case comments. You can either upsert it to case comments, feed items. There are multiple places where you can post. So we are just adding it to the case comments. We are adding the parent ID is the case ID, the original, whatever the case number is there, that ID is there. So this is the parent ID and the comment body. What is the comment you want to add? So in this way, This is the entire use case 3, that the any update happens from the Zendesk side, it should go to the Salesforce and should reply to that Slack message also. Does anyone have any doubts in any of the use cases? Okay, so yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's all.
Trisla. Yeah, thank you, Trisla, for a great demo. Have some water.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyone, yeah, like we are right on time. Still, we have some time. So, anyone, like any question? Like, see, these are the use cases which we worked. And you can have different flavors of it. You can customize it, but the basic idea was to show how we can connect to Salesforce, Slack, and Gendex, and it can be, and you can use it for any use case what you want. There are different ways to implement it. There could be different need of emojis, but we have covered in a great depth and all the conditions and tested it and then thought of sharing with you. So any question on this demo, any part, anything, any feedback, anything? I hope you liked the session. We were not very fast also, or at the same time made the time. Any question, anyone? It's the open window.
Yeah, it was a great session. Really, I mean, it can automate the process for a support member, right? Who are doing so. It helps a lot and save their time. I
Yep.
just want to concentrate on a point that Krishna just